the last win against Nebraska. A lot of minutes for Ava Hayden after a few DNP CDs. How, what was that process, making sure that she was staying ready for an opportunity like that? And what was your reaction to how well she played in those minutes?
Yeah, that's just what you need and hope your freshmen are going to do in the year, right? Ava got a flu early in the year, and Addie just kind of kept staying the course. And Addie has, handled so much throughout her career, and Addie became pretty consistent. And then, with playing so many new people in the middle of the year, trying to figure out because there isn't a whole lot of separation. So, I try to do things. You go by your gut, and you also use a lot of analytics, and you use statistical measurements of every practice. And Addie's offensive efficiency has been, really impressive. And then when we shifted, we knew when we shifted Hannah, whether Hannah plays the 4 or she plays the 5, that's going to affect someone's minutes. And Ava, got affected. But, we just been telling Ava, she came here to be a part of it. And, she continues to work, her greatness, should continue to show. And we just said, this is it. Is what you want to have happen. A senior like Addie is accepting a role change, but she's competing. And Ava, is just pushing and pushing. And we just said, you got to be ready when it happens. And Ava has taken it beautifully, and she was ready. And I thought she played a really, really great game.
Blake.
Thank you.
Hey, Jan. Love the jersey, by the way, on the
Oh, I know. It's nice. I got to get it. I got to get it framed, but they sent me that earlier. So we're working on that. But I thought it's kind of nice to hang it right there.
Heck yeah. Well, not that you want your team to ride the highs or to ride the lows, but during a 5-game win streak, what has that done for perhaps the morale and the confidence of your team? And is the feeling different than it was, say, a month ago?
Yeah, I think I think the key is always trying to, as much as you can, stay in the middle, right? It's most important when you're in a low peak to stay in the middle. But I think you have to have discipline to remain there at a high peak, because anything in life, when it shifts to extreme too much, it's never really great. One of my favorite quotes is, usually nothing is ever as bad as it seems or as good as it seems, but somewhere in the middle reality lies. And I think that served me well pretty much over my career. And there's always a fine line, when you come out of a tough spot, man, you just want to stay on that high for a long, long time. But I think if you keep consistent, the 24 hours, and I think what I really think is important is when you just really try to enjoy that journey and not put so much emphasis on the end result, it can alleviate the pressure, but then that enjoyment of bettering yourself and growing, that can supersede the gratification at the end. And I think they've done a really good job of that. And I think they've really, always believed that we've been closer than farther. And so, yeah, but it's lighter. I mean, definitely, it's so much lighter, when you're winning. No question about it. Any coach on any level will tell you.
Joe?
Yeah, we can analyze all we want, but the bottom line is you know a lot more about your team than we do. What do you see has really flipped in the last 2 or 3 weeks from then till now? Whether it's something statistically, somebody individually, the group collectively. What do you see that's really flipped things for you?
I think it's just when you kind of hit that synergy, when you start to kind of feel like they're reading each other better, they're just getting way more comfortable, and you never know when that's going to hit. I have always learned, though, or I've learned over the years with our particular offense, and I said this at the beginning of the year, it's like a fine wine. It really usually gets better with age. And the reason I think the era passed is like that group was there together their freshman year, their sophomore year, junior year, and then a lot of it stayed the same that senior year for Caitlin and company. And a lot of it, I try not to call a lot of sets. So to really mesh is they got to start kind of reading and knowing, if I do this, that's going to help Taylor. If I do that, that's going to be advantageous for Sid. I think they're understanding that more. And I think that's what you hope happens. By the February, you really want to be trying to play your best basketball. So I think it's comfortability, and I think that synergy, and I think it just takes a little longer. And the younger you are, it's going to take longer. And I think that's part of it. I think, we hit some rough patches where it just didn't go our way. We didn't create the breaks. So then we were young, but we were also bummed. And so we had to be pretty resilient. And when we stayed the course, and then we started to celebrate progress regardless of the end result, and they started to kind of believe in the progress, and then they got confident, which is, what Blake alluded to. That's, I think, it's all come together. But we also play in a really, really hard league. And the middle of this league, if your name's not UCLA or USC, I mean, you look at the scores, it's just everybody beats up on each other. And without a lot of home and homes, or home and aways, it's just hard to make an adjustment and get it back to see if you were equal. So it's just a lot of things, right? So I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful they're enjoying playing together. And I think that what you can see is that when it's rolling, we're kind of, we're having fun, and I'm just so happy that they've got a few wins to keep building on.
Kyle.
Yeah, Jan, we've talked about, the Lucy Olson's play over the last few games. Obviously had the big second half against USC, and then a season best performance against Nebraska. What has stood out to you about her play over this 5-game winning streak? What is different about what she's doing? Is it, more aggressive? Is it, is it something that the offense has been doing as a whole that's led to more looks for her? Just curious to hear your thoughts on what's standing out about her right now.
Yeah, I think it's her comfortability. I think just working a lot, trying to get her to hit the balance between, running a set maybe when we're running it, but giving her the confidence to abort it when she sees the theme, right? And I think just hitting that. And, she's playing freer. And so I've tried to get her to play freer and lighter, and just all different kinds of mechanisms to do that. Trying to, kind of stat where she likes to shoot it, how she likes to shoot it, trying to create a play when we do call a set to get her in that movement, and then hopefully it hits, and then it gives you that confidence. So I do think it goes back to just, we're near that end of the regular season, and it's starting to come together. But I think there's just a confidence level of which she's hitting now. And yeah, it would have been great. It could have been, November 10th when we hit it, but it takes time. And I think that, it's just all a combination, but I think it's just trying to let her play free. And we've been doing that in a lot of different ways. And I think she's kind of breathing a little bit and taking that to heart.
Dargan.
Yeah, Jen, the place you've gotten with your depth, where winning routes or paths to victory can look different individually, at the end of the day. How valuable is that mentally, to where not everybody feels like, hey, I need to go for 30 tonight for us to win, but you have a whole range of players who can step up at any point?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's been kind of the fun part about our team over the year, is it different big moments. It's oftentimes been different people. And even in the times we haven't won, it's been a lot of times our youth that has kind of brought us back or got us close. Our bets were a little tight. In the Minnesota game, the freshmen were a little tight. They weren't normally themselves, and the vets at the end said, okay, I got it. And then in this Nebraska game, it was a wonderful combination. You mentioned Ava at the beginning, who played big minutes with all the foul trouble of the vets. And then it was Lucy Olson that really, from start to finish, was like, I got this tonight. And when she does that and plays free and can be productive, and then you have Kylie Purebach that's giving confidence defensively as the lead defender, that frees everybody up to maybe have a night. And I think that's what's exciting about, the future of tomorrow night to the future of next year and into the future, is because we do have a lot of different people that can give us what we need on certain occasions at the right time. So I do think that makes this team, fun and, special. Sometimes it's a challenge when you have a lot and it's really close or it's inconsistent. Sometimes it's hard to coach inconsistency. You're not really sure what you're going to get with that combination. And again, I think that takes time. There's a lot of data that has to be absolved and also absorbed. And then there's just gut feelings that I think coaches get to. And I think that's kind of how we've landed here with about 5 games left in the regular season.
Chris.
Yeah, Jan, you just touched on how the team kind of as a whole is starting to find that confidence. But in the midst of the 5-game losing streak, was there anything schematically that you have done different that's kind of led to a different approach in these couple wins that you've gotten?
I think we've just, we've tweaked our offense. I took a couple actions out I didn't think were advantageous. I tried to free up the lane a little bit, trying to limit certain passes from certain areas. So we've tweaked a few things offensively. Defense has kind of been our calling card. I think the whole year, what's really served us well. We've changed some things defensively, a little more aggressively with screening actions. We'll change it a little bit more aggressively depending on who we're playing. But yeah, there's been tweaks, but nothing wholesale. Nothing that, oh man, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater and starting it over. I never felt we needed to do that. I just really felt like we had to keep looking on what we had, where we had it. And then, I think the key is always to try to highlight your strengths and hide your weaknesses. And we weren't doing that very well in that streak at the beginning of the Big Ten run. I think we're doing it a little better now. But there's still, 5 hard games left. And I think we continue to be that work in progress. But a few tweaks, yes, offensively, and a few tweaks defensively for sure. And I think that when you can do that as a staff, give a little different nuance, a little different tweak to the formula, that also gives hope, right? If you're just doing the same old thing and you're getting the similar results, then you kind of lose But I think our staff did a really good job of analyzing. I think our scouts have been good. Our game plans a month ago and now have been really good and solid. It's just we've made tweaks.
Chad.
Hey, Jan. Aaliyah's 2 for 20 in her last 3 games. Just kind of where is she at with her mentality? Where are you at with her?
Yeah. I just feel badly because that kid is so smooth. You saw her at the beginning. I think what you see is a freshman. I think you saw a freshman that, got out of isolation. When she got free in November, we threw her in down in Thanksgiving tournament when we were still really trying to find ourselves. And man, she was great. She came back and there was that naivete. I'm back. I'm playing in front of all these people. It was like, oh, right. And there was not an expectation from outside or really within. There's just the like, man, I'm so happy I'm back. And then as so often is the case in life, then when you're back and the day-to-day hit and the expectations grow, and now you're really trying to learn everything that she missed since June. It was fine when she gave herself praise and everybody else was, right? But then when it was like, okay, now we got to play this, we got to play that, we got to go. And then it's just like like a rubber ball, like a super ball when you bounce it and it just goes sky high. When you add, pressure, right? Or expectations or disappointments, when you start to bounce it, doesn't bounce quite as high. So as a coach, you got to find that bounce back. What I'm trying to free her up now, because now she's going in the game and now she's second guessing it because she's had a lot of times in practice where, oh man, I didn't see the seam, or, she's trying to take a shot over one of our practice guys. So she's really where the freshmen were at the beginning of the season, August, September, when they were like, what is happening? Now, the playbook was this big for her when she came back. I need you to know these 3 plays, and I need you to run the 1. That's it. Now, when we get her back, I need you to be the 2 in this situation. I need you to be the 1. We need you to run this press breaker, and I need you to do that press breaker. Because now in the Big Ten game, it's not Thanksgiving. So it's a freshman that's playing pretty great, except her shooting percentage. But what do we all celebrate? What is everybody, the points, right? So freeing her up will be key for us to get her back to where we need her, because her shots are great. She's probably taken out of those shots, I think 4, weren't great. Other than that, I'll have her shoot it every time.
Adam.
In this 5-game winning streak, you guys have raced out to big leads in 4 of the 5 first quarters, and the only one that wasn't was, Northwestern, when they had the shooting day of their lives, essentially. And for a team that had so many struggles with first quarters earlier in the season, especially during that losing streak, I guess what has changed from then until now? Was it the lineup tweaks? Is it something mentally for the players as they get more comfortable, or what have you seen to really turn around those first quarters, and how important have they been for how the team plays the rest of the games?
I think it's a lineup shift is why we went to it. And that's nothing against O'Grady. I just like the flow of when we can go a little faster with Hannah. And even when Hannah doesn't have the productivity, she had an off night, and I think she had that at Nebraska, especially because it's hard to get in a rhythm with foul trouble, right? But Hannah poses a lot of issues. You got to keep up with her as a post, because she's going to fly down the floor. And then when you get down there, she might give up size, but you got to work like crazy because she's fast and she does things as a different true post player. So I think that just, they got to pay a little different attention to Hannah. And it allowed Sydney to be a 4. And Sydney is a little bit more effective with 4s, typically guarding her and she guarding 4s. So I think the lineup shift freed our offense up to flow a little better. Now we had to make shots, right? We have to still defend. But I think that was a shift that has done well. And even though, Hannah didn't have the offensive night against Nebraska, neither did Markowski. Part of it, I think, countered each other in different ways, right? So I think it is more the lineup shift, but then I think it's the combination of everything I've shared. It's we hit a comfortable level, and then we got a little bit more consistency. With comfortability and consistency, confidence comes next. And that's where I'd like to think we can continue with that confidence moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, last one, Kyle.
Yeah, Jan, Rutgers, record aside, whether it's Big Ten or overall record, they have 2 of the top scorers in the conference. I believe they might be the best scoring duo in the conference, Kaomi McMiller and Destiny Adams. Just kind of what challenges do they pose with a guard and a forward, the way that they can score and kind of affect the game in different ways?
Yeah, they're just scary, like no one thinks they are. You look at their record and everybody counts it as a win, and that's, if you're a coach, much easier to get everybody's attention with UCLA, right? Or, what's our next game? Ohio State, right? Is teams that have nothing to lose and they haven't achieved what they were hoping that they would have achieved, that have the talent that they do, they're just dangerous. because if they put it together at the right time, they're very difficult to stop. And they're two leading the scorers. No one's really stopped them, right? So if they get confident, and then, as you know, Adam said, like a Northwestern shoots crazy, then you have a team that's tight, and then you're feeling all the pressure, right? So it's just that's just age-old challenge for everybody. So what we need to do is our defense has to hold. That's what I believe has been our consistent calling card, is our defense. And it's going to be tested because teams that, run stuff, how they're going to run it, and they're going to do it, you can prepare a little, okay? They're going to run fist, they're going to run twirl, they're going to run thumbs up or whatever. Teams that have a little bit more of freelance, it's harder, because you can't say, okay, when they run twirl, we're going to do this scheme when we do that. So your principles have to hold. And that's what, I've got to really hope that we're preparing for that. And they press. And so their pressure, when we haven't done so well earlier in the year, we haven't handled the pressure. I'm thankful we didn't handle it well at USC in the second quarter, but then the third quarter we did, and the fourth quarter, we didn't have an issue with it either. So handle the pressure, play our principles. And hopefully what you've seen with our offense will continue to hold, because they play really aggressive defensively. They throw a lot of different presses at you. Some will be a slowdown, and then they speed you up, right? They want to slow you down, but it ends up speeding you up. And then they trap you sometimes, and that causes a different panic. So we got to pressure, full court, quarter court, and our principles have to hold. And if we do that, then I think we can, do what we should do. But by no means is anybody in our staff or on our team taking this game lightly, because we know how the middle of this Big Ten is so tough, and the bottom, they want nothing to do than to steal one. And it's interesting now, right? Because not everybody can qualify for the Big Ten tournament. So there's different people playing for different things. And so there's different pressure levels. So I suspect that Hawkeyes will have them ready to go.
Thanks, Jan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you covering us. Have a good day. Stay warm and out of ditches.